The ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict has thrust the race for the Earth's resources, oil, gas, precious minerals, into the daily headlines. It's a potential win for the U.S., and it's got me reflecting on my own worldwide journey. I'm Mark Roach, and this is FutureWise Energy. I'm a former industry insider now speaking independently, advocating for smart, fact-driven use of our planet's resources to build a better future. In the 1980s, I was at Mobil, working on the Hugoton Gas Field, then North America's largest natural gas reserve. We hosted Chinese dignitaries in what was chalked up to be a polite gesture. Then in the 1990s, I struck out internationally as an independent, bringing Western tech and management thinking and methods to state-owned oil companies teaming up with U.S. firms. We developed reserves and trained locals to take the reins of their resources, immersing me in these cultures across Europe, Asia, and South Central America. But in Caracas, the work screeched to a halt once when Chavez took power, seizing U.S. oil investments and unraveling ties with PDVSA, Venezuela's national oil company. By 2010, I was pitching TPG's investment fund to Chinese businesses and investment representatives. A rare glimpse into the colossal global funds pouring into mining, utilities, and infrastructure, all chasing the Earth's wealth. In 2010 to 12, I assessed international startup opportunities, diving into extensive exploration scenarios across Europe with a deep focus in Denmark. Later, I turned to developing assets in Central America along the borders of Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico, navigating a complex tangle of potential and risk. The history of U.S. oil companies investing in upstream oil and gas assets, exploration and production, in foreign countries over the past 40 years reflects a dynamic interplay of economic opportunities, geopolitical shifts, technological advancements, and evolving energy demands. Since the early 1980s, U.S. firms have pursued international ventures to secure reserves, diversify their portfolios, and capitalize on global markets, often adapting to changing conditions like oil price volatility, host country policies, and competition from state-owned enterprises. In the 1980s, U.S. oil giants like Exxon, Chevron, and Mobil, predecessors to today's supermajors, expanded their international upstream presence significantly. The decade began with the aftermath of the 1970s oil crisis, which had heightened awareness of energy security and spurred interest in foreign reserves. Companies invested heavily in regions like the North Sea, where advances in offshore drilling technology unlocked new fields in the UK and Norway. Chevron, for instance, became a major player in the North Sea's Stadford field alongside Norway's Statoil, now Equinor. Meanwhile, in Africa, Exxon and Chevron deepened their stakes in Nigeria and Angola, tapping into rich offshore deposits. Latin America also drew attention with companies like Texaco, who later merged with Chevron, active in Venezuela's Orenco Belt and Mexico's state-owned dominated oil sector, offering limited but strategic partnerships. The 1990s marked a period of both opportunity and consolidation. The collapse of the Soviet Union opened up vast new frontiers in the Caspian Sea region, particularly in Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. Chevron led the charge with its landmark Tengiz oilfield project in Kazakhstan, a multi-billion-dollar investment that began production in 1993 and remains one of the largest foreign upstream commitments by a U.S. firm. Exxon and Mobil also joined consortia in Azerbaijan, such as the Azer-Charang Gunashai ACG project, capitalizing on post-Soviet privatization. During this decade, low oil prices hovering around $20 per barrel pushed companies to seek cost-effective reserves abroad, while also diving into mergers like Exxon and Mobil's 1999 union, creating ExxonMobil. The Middle East remained a complex arena while U.S. firms had historically dominated there. Example, through Aramco in Saudi Arabia until the nationalization in 1970s. Direct upstream investments were limited as national oil companies, NOCs, took control through service contracts and joint ventures persisted. The 2000s saw a surge in upstream investment fueled by rising oil prices, which peaked at over $140 a barrel in 2008. U.S. companies aggressively pursued unconventional and deep water assets globally. In Canada, firms like ConocoPhillips and ExxonMobil, via its affiliate Imperial Oil, ramped up investments in Alberta's oil sands, a capital-intensive play that promised long-term yields despite environmental challenges. Deep water exploration took off in West Africa, with Chevron and ExxonMobil expanding Angola's Block 15 and Nigeria's Niger Delta, leveraging cutting-edge drilling technologies. The period also saw U.S. independents like Anadarko Production, later acquired by Occidental, enter markets such as Algeria and Ghana, where the Jubilee field discovery in 2007 underscored Africa's growing importance. Geopolitical tensions, including the Iraq War in 2003, complicated access to Middle Eastern reserves, though some U.S. firms secured post-war contracts in Iraq's Kurdish region. From the 2010 onward, U.S. shale boom, enabled by hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling, shifted some focus back home, but international upstream investment continued, albeit selectively. ExxonMobil's massive discoveries in Ghana's Stabroek Block, started in 2015, exemplified this trend, with production ramping up to make Guyana a key part of its portfolio by the 2020s. Chevron maintained its global footprint, notably in Austria's Gorgon LNG project, reflecting a pivot towards natural gas as demand grew. In 2014, the oil price crash forced companies to prioritize high-return projects, leading to divestitures of less profitable foreign assets. Occidental, for example, sold off some Middle East holdings to focus on the Permian Basin. Yet, even as domestic shale dominated, U.S. firms sustained strategic foreign plays, balancing energy transition pressures with the reality of persistent global demand. Over these 40 years, U.S. oil companies navigated a landscape shaped by host government policies, from nationalizations in the 1980s to production sharing agreements in the 1990s and beyond. Competition from NOCs like Saudi Aramco and China's CNPC intensified, often limiting U.S. firms to technological or minority roles in certain regions. Technological innovation, deep water rigs, seismic imaging, and later digital tools enabled access to previously uneconomic reserves, while mergers, for example, Chevron Texaco in 2001, Occidental Anadarko in 2019, bolstered their global reach. Today, U.S. companies remain pivotal in foreign upstream development, though they increasingly weigh decarbonization goals against traditional oil and gas pursuits, with ExxonMobil's Guyana success and Chevron's LNG focus signaling a pragmatic blend of legacy and future-facing strategies. The history shows a pattern of adaptability. U.S. firms chased reserves where geology and politics aligned, from the North Sea to the Caspian, Africa to South America, adjusting to price cycles and global shifts while leveraging their technical prowess to stay competitive. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.